Good afternoon. I'm Jay LaPere. I'm chair of the Tulane Board, and it's my great honor to welcome each of you to this extraordinary event on this extraordinary and historic day. This exciting day culminates literally years of thinking and work that began unofficially as we struggled to get the vision for what we want in athletics at Tulane. And recently, roughly a year ago, what you'll see today is a formal announcement of the work that formally began then. It's my pleasure to introduce Scott Cowen. You all are familiar with Scott. Provides incredible leadership to this university, and it's just an unbelievable joy and honor for me to introduce Scott. And thank you all for being here.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is indeed an exciting and historic week for Tulane University, Tulane football, and New Orleans. It all started early this week when we selected Curtis Johnson to be the new head coach of the Green Wave. I have to tell you, from the first moment that I met Curtis, a few weeks ago, I had this strong feeling in my gut, which is a big one, that this was the right person for the job. And the more I looked at his record, and especially his record as a recruiter and developer and motivator of young men at both the college and professional level, I knew we had a winner. Matter of fact, I'm so sure of it, I believe Curtis someday is going to be a question on Jeopardy. Here's the question. What college head coach has won a national championship in college? Also has a Super Bowl ring from the professional team in his hometown, who subsequently then became the head coach at the university in his town. Curtis Johnson's the only one in America. When Curtis became, you liked that, didn't it? It took me a lot of time to think through that. It didn't come easily, I gotta tell you. It really didn't. When we hired CJ, Rick and I said there were three things we were gonna do for him. The first thing, we were gonna cover his back. And as he knows as a coach, that's what he needs most of all. Somebody's watching his back while he's doing his thing. And Rick and I are here to do that. The second thing we told him we would do is to provide him with the resources for hiring assistants, recruiting, and strength and conditioning at a level comparable to the very top schools in Conference USA. This was our promise, and it will be kept. We also told him that we were going to make sure that every game he played in New Orleans gave him a home field advantage. And this is why we're here today. It's all about the home field advantage. I am proud to announce that starting this very minute, Tulane is embarking on a $70 million home field advantage campaign to construct a $60 million on-campus stadium and create a $10 million investment fund for Tulane football. To ensure that everyone clearly understands the commitment of this board and this administration to developing a winning football tradition, several donors, most of whom are members of the Tulane Board, have pledged $40 million toward the campaign so that we can officially begin the campaign and detailed planning for the stadium today. It is our expectation that others will now co-invest with us to raise the additional $20 million for the stadium in the next 18 months, and the remaining $10 million before we kick off for our first on-campus home game in 37 years. By the way, the board's commitment to this project is a once-in-a-century event, because the last time a board of Tulane had to address this issue was in the early part of the 20th century. And I don't anticipate another board at Tulane will deal with this issue again in the 21st century. I can't speak for the 22nd century because I won't be here, but I promise to be here for the 21st as a Tulanean to watch Curtis coach for 100 years. And as we said to the board today, and I would say to all of you out here, our fans, our alumni, this is an all-hands-on-deck moment, an all-hands-on-deck, because all of us here, alumni, friends, and New Orleanians, we are here to get this done. It's time to band together, to do something all of you have dreamed of from the day Tulane Stadium was demolished in 1980. I'm counting on all of you to join our board's lead to successfully complete this campaign. But make no mistake about it, we are committed to constructing this stadium and raising the rest of the money to get it done. Let me tell you about the stadium. The stadium will be located on our current practice field right outside this back door right here of the Wilson Center, on what is now the practice field. It is anticipated to have a capacity of 30,000 and be completed no later than the season beginning in fall 2014. And as I said, detailed planning for it begins today. There are three questions I've been asked constantly about this. Why are we doing this? The answer is a simple one. Because we believe it's the right thing to do for Tulane University, Tulane football, and for New Orleans. For Tulane, it makes economic sense because it will enhance our football program, but we also see it as a great resource for our community. What we also know is it will nurture a spirit of esprit de corps on this campus that we have probably not seen for decades. I was reading about Tulane Stadium the last couple days in preparation for today. That stadium was dedicated on October 23rd, 1926. When it was originally built, it had capacity of a little over 30,000. It eventually had capacity over 80,000 and was the largest football stadium in the South. It hosted 3 Super Bowls, and it was the home of the Green Wave for many years. By the way, when that stadium was dedicated in 1926, the cost of the stadium was $300,000. To put that in proportion, to prepare you, you won't even be able to get a club seat for that amount in this one. But I have to tell you, the moment I stepped foot on this campus in 1998, there are 2 subjects that I always heard about. And number one by far was that Tulane Stadium meant to all of you, to a generation of Tulaneans and New Orleanians who had story after story about it impacting their life. Even at lunch today, when I was talking to our trustees, they began to recall their stories. The other day I was with the mayor, informing him of this event. And Mitch launched into, that's how he made his money, was a young guy working at Tulane Stadium. Isn't it remarkable that we're going back to the future? That we're bringing back the memories but we're bringing it back that's suitable for the 21st century. For our community, and I mean New Orleans, it will be a wonderful community resource. We plan to partner with NORD, public schools, the Louisiana High School Athletic Association, because it is part of what we say at Tulane, Tulane empowers. Ever since Katrina, we have been engaged in our community in ways that we never were before, and this is one more manifestation of our commitment. It indeed is a football stadium, but to only think of it in that way doesn't do justice to the power it will have for New Orleans. And it will be an economic driver for the city we all love. Second question is, why are we doing it now? First of all, I can honestly say we have now financially recovered from Katrina. It took us 6 years, but we did it. We have now regained full Division 1A status. It took us 6 years, but we did it. And in the meantime, we built the needed facilities for baseball, volleyball, and basketball. And now we are fulfilling a pledge we told all of you last spring that we would fulfill, and that is to bring in superb leadership as our new coach, surround him with first-class staff, and build first-rate facilities that will always give him the home field advantage. A moment like this requires thanking a lot of people, and we don't have the time today to do that. But there are a few I want to call out. And Jay, I want to start with the board of Tulane University, and I want all of you to know this. The board was solidly behind this. And you know how they demonstrated their commitment? By putting up their money for this project. And the vast majority of that money came from board members. And then I want to thank Rick Dixon. You know, I think one of the hardest jobs in a university is being an athletic director. Because everybody focuses on the athletic director, especially if they don't like the way something's going in athletics. But Rick and I have known each other for over a decade, and I want you to know, Rick, you are a man of integrity and character and dedication to this university, and we wouldn't be standing here today without you and your dedication and that of your staff. Join me in thanking Rick. Finally, I want to tell you how I feel personally at this moment. I've been president for 14 years, and I've been president for two of the most historic events in the history of this university: Hurricane Katrina and the building of a new stadium. I consider myself one of the most blessed people to have found my way to New Orleans and to Tulane University. And I am just so pleased to be here to play a small part in this magnificent initiative for Tulane University. It's something I thought would never happen on my watch, and I'm still pinching myself to realize it is. So begins a glorious journey today for Tulane, New Orleans, and most of all, Tulane football. I want to show you for a moment the plans of the future. to tell you something, if that doesn't give you goosebumps, nothing will. So I want to ask you one question. Are you with us? No, I didn't hear you. I said, are you with us? Together, we are going to make our dreams a reality. Now it's my great pleasure to introduce the President of the Associated Student Body, Evan Nicole. Evan?
Thank you, President Cowen. I'm extremely happy to be here today to represent the students of Tulane and communicate their excitement. And for me, just to say that students are excited about an on-campus stadium would truly be an understatement. You know, this has been one of the most active months in Tulane's athletic history. One of my proudest moments while I've been at Tulane was this past Saturday when the men's basketball team beat Georgia Tech at home. For those that were there, the atmosphere was electric. Students were going nuts cheering for those guys. I know I can speak for the students when I say that we all wish we could have that same atmosphere, that same environment of being at home to cheer for all of our teams, especially with football. And I believe that the university is taking steps to make this a reality. You've seen the new Hertz Center, the hiring of Mr. Curtis Johnson as our new coach, and now to this day, the day that many have been waiting since the day that old Sugar Bowl Stadium was taken down. I think sometimes people forget about Tulane's decorated athletic history and traditions. I believe that a new stadium is the missing piece of the puzzle to reclaim that rich tradition. To imagine that something as simple as having homecoming at home, it's incredible. So now we have the stadium. What's next? Well, I can tell you this. We have no more excuses anymore. Our excuse about not going to a game because it's too far from campus. Our excuse about being drowned out in a sea of empty seats. Our excuse about not being in a college atmosphere. I could go on, but the point is this. All of our excuses have been taken away. You've seen the posters, the signs, the t-shirts that say "Rise Up." Now is the time to rise up. It's time to stop talking and start doing. You see, everyone around here, look around. Everyone here in this room, they're rising up. Now it's your turn, Tulane. I can guarantee you that I'll be one of the first to purchase season tickets when I become an alum. I'd like to end by reiterating something that Coach Curtis Johnson had mentioned at his press conference on Monday. He mentioned that Louisiana recruits should be ready because we're coming for them. I'm going to take it a step further. You see, I've got a friend of mine, Cody Wells, who happens to be the student body president at LSU. Cody, I hope you're watching, buddy. Congratulations on the success of y'all's football program is having right now. Enjoy it while you can. Because y'all are next. We're coming for you, LSU. Roll wave.
Hey, Coach, I'd recruit him for your team. I'll tell you, you got to recruit him. You know, Rick and I have partnered, as I said, for 10 years. But the last 1 month, we've been bonded together in the search for the Curtis Johnson. And Rick said the kindest thing to me at the end of the search. He said, "Scott, I'm so pleased with your work. I'm now making you assistant AD. So it's my great pleasure to introduce my boss, Rick Dixon."
Welcome. Been a emotional week for a lot of reasons. I want to say thanks to everyone, certainly Scott and our board and what they did today. And I got to tell you, and this isn't often, but I was dumbfounded, and the dumbfounded part you'd believe, but I was dumbfounded and speechless when they unanimously voted to approve this project. It was a remarkable day, remarkable time. And I've lived it, as you know, day by day and moment by moment. As I said, because Scott came to me and said, "You don't seem elated," and I can't express how I feel, because I immediately went back to a time when a Tulane board first voted to keep my athletic program in 2003, and I immediately thought of a time coming in here in December after I'd evacuated 320 of my kids out of here, stood in this very atrium with the same orange juice cartons and muffin cartons that I had fed them the morning I evacuated them, and stood and realized where we were, and I once again nearly didn't have an athletic program, and then what this board did today, and that's what I think. And so if you wonder, to Scott and our board and to those people that have made today possible how I feel, I want you to know I never experienced anything like this in my life. To be a small part of it is humbling. Like others have said, from the moment I got here in April of 2000, I've heard your stories about what that facility meant. Not shortly after I got out here did I look in my office and see a overhead shot of what it was the time college football's nighttime attendance record, right out there, 89,651, right out there in our stadium. And I said, turn that around. I don't need to see that again. But if there was ever, between your stories, which I've heard from the tens and hundreds of thousands of miles I've flown around this country to meet, know, and ask for Tulanean support, what it's meant to you, I know. And I have every moment, every day, look forward to this moment where I now could tell you about your Tulane Stadium. And that's the journey that I've been on. So again, to Scott, our board, everybody that's made today happen, you got my heartfelt, absolute gratitude for life. To Brenda, who has endured it with me, particularly these last 6 months of once again traveling and presenting around to those that could make today possible for the last 6 months. Some would say for the last 32 years. I thank you for everything you've endured. Wouldn't be here either today. And to all of our young men and women who helped get us here today, and all the people and staff and all of it, I thank you with all my heart. This caps it off. Doesn't get any better. But as you heard said earlier, just starts today. So many of you have asked me, how do we become part of it? Well, now you've heard today. Become part of it. They'll get you the information. You'll see it. I know I'm supposed to recite it, but as you can tell, my head's in another place. But you know where to find us. Anybody that wants to help on that last 30 million, you know me. You know where to find me, and you know I'll come see you. For all of you, becoming part of it means this. I scheduled those 5 games at Tad Gormley for a reason. Because of your stories, I knew in my heart and heard that it wasn't just us. And I wanted to prove it to us. If you put us in a collegiate atmosphere, we can have as an electric a setting and day in college pageantry as there is in the country. And I've been in some pretty special places for that, Rose Bowl and National Championship included. And that was as exciting a 5 days as I've been part of. But to be able to do it at home with, as you heard from Evan, who, by the way, was a student athlete or is a student athlete at Tulane. No coincidence there. We ran a little campaign together to make all this happen, There's always a reason to why things happen, but To our kids who now, I'm not going to ask you to get on a bus again to come support us. Just roll out of bed. And Curtis, you may have gotten the greatest extended honeymoon of any coach in America because of today. But I can't tell you I did Monday, how excited and enthused I am about him. I know he's the right man. And to all of you, look, it starts now. It starts now. It doesn't end. We're not here to tell you about anything we accomplished. We're here today to say this is going to happen, and there's a place and a need for every single one of you. You better start contacting our folks now and become TAF members, become season ticket holders, because that's what puts you into that stadium. And your scoreboard starts now. I'm preaching to the choir here because you've always been part of it. But for those of you out there watching and listening, your scoreboard starts now. Become part of this and make it happen. So again, couldn't be prouder of where we are. Couldn't be more proud for all of you. And to the young men that'll experience this during their time here, the young ones out there, as Evan said, we're coming to get you. That'll become part of it in the future. The future is now, and the future is great. Thank you.
We're going to conclude our ceremony today by letting Coach Johnson ring the victory bell. We're letting him ring it now for a victory that he's going to earn next season, right from the beginning. Coach, come on down here.